Network Director is Kevin Shockey. Chief Network Engineer is Jason Gorodetzer. Senior Vice President of the Altitude Radio Network is Dave Fleck.
You want a hard-working team? There it is right there.
This broadcast was a presentation of the National Hockey League and the Altitude Radio Network. Colorado Avalanche postgame coverage continues now on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. This is Between the Pipes with Alex Ryan-Emmy and Mark Springer. Tonight, live from Rhinehouse at 14th and Market, brought to you by Circus Sports Colorado. It's time to react to tonight's game. Call or text 303-504-0925. Now, let's go Between the Pipes with Raj and Spring.
Mikko Rantanen, McKinnon's with him. 25 seconds left. Rantanen down to the corner. Werenski got in his way. Rantanen pulls through. Columbus able to exit off the near side boards. Marchenko will skate it into a wide open net. No, he hands it off to Sean Monahan. 6-4 Columbus with 11 seconds to go in the third period. Avs allowed 8 in game 1, 6 in game number 2.
And there's your final from Ball Arena. The Avs drop not only their season opener against Vegas, but they drop the home opener tonight at Ball Arena, the first of a celebration for the 25th anniversary of Ball Arena. And the Avs, after what we thought may have been rock bottom for the goaltending in day 1, well, it came back to bite them on game 2. A team that has been picked by largely everyone to finish bottom 3 in the league in Columbus. A team that has, while a few young players with some good talent, nice speed, don't necessarily have the depth or the veteran presence, obviously, to go hand in hand with the tragedy that happened with the Gaudreau brothers this summer. They walk into Denver and they win 6-4. And it wasn't necessarily just the fact that, well, the Avs gave up more goals, and it was the goaltending again, Spring. And that's where this conversation starts. That's where this conversation stops, because tonight, if you look at the expected goals for and expected goals against in all situations, Colorado should have doubled up Columbus in this game. Through 2 games now, we have seen 6 goals scored against the Colorado Avalanche within 3 game minutes of the Avs scoring or their opponent scoring. It continues to be situational awareness for the goaltending, bad goals from bad angles against at the worst times possible, and yet again, I know the Avs are missing $20 million out of their top 6 forwards. That's more money than anybody else in the league is missing from that type of unit. Even with those guys in the lineup, I don't know if you can overcome stuff like that.
Well, you really need the goaltending when now you're without Jonathan Drouin. And, man, they didn't get it. They didn't get it once again. The Kent Johnson goal, the second goal of the game, was another short side goal that was very similar to the Olofsson goal that started this spiral of the downhill variety for the Avalanche, but more specifically Alexander Georgiev. And then he allows a third goal, and that was it. Adam Fantilli, these are good players, these are good young players. Fantilli was a top draft pick.
Fantilli was the number 2 overall pick.
And he scores on Georgiev 2 minutes into the second period. That's it. He's yanked. It was a short leash for Georgiev tonight. The Avs deserve to win this game. The expected goals, the deservo-meter, except for goaltending. That's it. That's the reason they lose this game. They outstat Columbus in almost every category, but they come away losers because they allow 5 goals and 1 empty netter. They were good with the empty net, man. Is this theory? Is this something we're going to try? Empty net the entire game?
Well, I mean, the hope is that, like, you don't have to continue to go to that well with 4.5 minutes to go in a game because you're always playing from behind. But that's what it feels like. Even the first goal, which was a very nice play. Chinakhov goes forehand, backhand, sends a puck across the middle, and Werenski's driving the net. It was a 2-on-1, kind of a 2-on-2 there, and a really good redirect off the post and in. Unfortunately, what happens, though, is that as a goaltender, you need to anticipate plays. And what Georgiev has not been able to do over the course of his first 2 games, well, not even 2 games, because he's gotten yanked before the halfway mark in both of these things. Sorry, he got yanked after 2 periods against Vegas. What he's not doing is anticipating shots from very, very mappable situations. When a left-handed player coming down the right side goes from forehand to backhand, one thing is going to happen outside the dots. That's a pass when it's a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2. The puck is coming to the middle of the ice. While it's a beautiful tip and redirect from Zach Werenski, you have to anticipate that puck coming. Come out, cut the angle off, get a stick on it, something. And he doesn't anticipate it whatsoever, therefore sits back. Werenski's able to redirect the puck off the post and in, and before you know it, the Avs are done. They're down 1-0. Like it's really, really difficult to do that and then turn around and give up the same exact bad angle goal from, again, good player in Kent Johnson, but the puck's from outside the hash marks. You can't get ear-holed there as a National Hockey League goalie. And as I said on Between the Pipes Night 1, and as I said the next day on Dempsey and Company, it matters when you underperform. It matters when you give up goals, and I thought it was in day 1, right? Like, it mattered that day 1 you showed up as a netminder, and he didn't. And it also matters on your home opener after having an atrocious game that you have to show up. It matters when you get scored on early and you have to hold down the fort when he didn't. These are things that you just can't come back from. A bad goal, and then less than a minute later, another bad goal.
The Avs win this. They might win this game tonight if just one of those 5 goals before the empty netter is saved. And I mean, the first one that Eustace allows in, that should have been saved too. Now, finally, though, I guess if you look at it, I mean, this is an amazing goaltending performance from Avalanche standards. Eustace Onninen tonight allows 2 goals on 13 shots against, so he makes 11 saves of 13 shots against. That's an .846 save percentage. That's gangbusters for the Avs.
I know.
It's terrible league standard, but .846 is, man, we're looking at Georgiev a .667 after he was about the same on the first night. .846 looks amazing, but man, you just make one of those saves, and they get the empty net goal. They get the 6-on-5 goal. They almost won this game with the terrible goaltending. Ross Colton gets a look after they score their 4th goal.
After he scores.
And it was from virtually the same little bumper spot, but it hits the crossbar. And then questionable holding of the stick call. Is that what it was on Casey Middlestad?
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a good call in the moment. It ends up being an atrocious call. Like an absolutely atrocious penalty called against the Avs at the end of the game. But again, at that point, under a minute, you're hoping and wishing that you can come away with something. And you mentioned, I know it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek with Onninen, right? .843 save percentage. It's great for the Avs. But what happens on the first shot on goal on Onninen? What happens? A bad goal against. It hits him in the pad, and he's not able to control the rebound from a cold area. Look at where the shot comes from the point. Or from it's from outside the dot, above the dot, just below the tops of the circles, without a screen, without a tip. And it hits on it into the top of the pad, jumps over him, and goes in the back of the net after the Avs had battled back to tie this game at 3. It's not only bad goaltending for me, it is untimely goaltending. There's a massive issue. I know it's 2 games into the season, and it feels crazy to panic. I'm not panicking about the rest of the team. The rest of the team, missing $20 million, is doing just fine. I'm not going to panic about that for one bit. But it would be short-sighted, and I think it's dumb if you can look at that issue and say there's not an issue. There's an issue with both of them, and something needs to be done.
And I don't know what you do right. My answer would be, you know who's starting Monday night against the Islanders? Kaapo Kähkönen.
If he has his citizenship.
But, yeah, I did not realize he has to go through the immigration process, because I'm assuming this is because he was a Winnipeg Jet playing with a Canadian team. Is that what it is, Raj? Is that why he has to go through immigration? It feels like you're part of the league. It's established that this is a two-country league. We can't just get you on a flight ASAP. You see dudes in trades and transactions play that night sometimes of their move. I'm at the point where I want to see Kaapo Kähkönen, but oh wait, we can't even see him, or we might not even be able to see him on Monday. But that's what I would do. Now, neither of these guys has earned the right to start against a team that's coming to town. Ironically enough, coached by the greatest goaltender in Avalanche history.
Greatest goaltender in National Hockey history.
And the irony that is the Avs' Achilles heel. And it's not even close right now.
We're out here at Rhinehouse off of Market Street, just across the street from Ball Arena. So if you're getting out, you're filing out of Ball Arena, come on over, have a beer, have a brat, hang out with us for the rest of the evening. We're out here courtesy of our friends at Circus Sportsbook. Circus Sportsbook Colorado has mile-high betting limits, the lowest holds, and exceptional customer service. Head over to circusports.com to get signed up and start betting today. We were talking about some Nathan MacKinnon odds. He was minus 125 to score, potted the Avs' first goal at the end of the first period to get them within shouting distance after being down 2-0. Let's head out to the phone line. Steve has been waiting patiently on hold. You're live on 92.5 with Raj and Spring.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well, Steve. What you got?
Good. Well, before the commercial, what I heard was the Islanders game twice. I heard it was on Tuesday, but the game is Monday, so I just want to make sure everybody knew that. My other comment was I love listening after the game to Coach Bednar's comments, but we can't hear the questions. All we hear is muffled and a lot of static, and I'm wondering what can be done about that, because someone asked a question about a player.
The mics are set up. We just take the feed, and unfortunately the questions are not mic'd up.
Can they be mic'd up? that's the question.
I wish I could tell you that's up to us at the radio station, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah, we just need to get – and I was going to ask you about Kähkönen, so you already answered that while I was on hold. So we just need to do better on Monday and Wednesday. We got a shot.
Appreciate it, Steve. Let's keep it rolling. Let's go to Winnipeg Dave next. Winnipeg Dave, it's good to hear you, buddy.
Oh, what's going on, boys? So I'm looking on your website right now. I didn't realize Joker was that tall. Holy smokes, that guy is a giant compared to Nathan MacKinnon. Wow. Number two, I was going to ask you about Kaapo Kähkönen. This immigration thing, something has got to be changed by that. I know they file it because NHL has their hands in the pockets of immigration, so it's going to go by a lot quicker. Don't get me wrong. But I saw him when he was when they were doing their whole thing at the ice pucks and all that. This guy looks good. I'm actually surprised that they had to put him on waivers. He looked way better than Eric Comrie, and I'm glad he's coming to Colorado. Number one, let's just call the two goalies who they are. We got Juice and we got Beach Ball, because that guy is not playing goal. I don't know if he's just all comfy in his couch thinking, okay, I don't have to worry about it. Kaapo Kähkönen comes here. They should be very, very worried about losing their jobs right now. And when I say losing their jobs, I don't mean, okay, yeah, you're going to be fired, we're going to put you on waivers. No, I mean someone's going to end up being a backup, and Kaapo's going to come in there and be like going, guys, this is the way we play hockey here. This is the way we play goaltending, because our forwards are doing as much as they can. Was their goalie tonight standing on his head? Absolutely. But these guys should be worried about their jobs, about being a number one and being a backup, and I'm glad Kaapo Kähkönen, from what I saw in Winnipeg, this guy is good. And, hey, guys, I'm so glad that hockey is back. I've been itching for it. I've been waiting for it, and I'm excited, guys.
Dave-O, good to hear from you, man. Hopefully we hear from you throughout the season.
Hey, look, no, Were you watching Winnipeg's Jets preseason hockey? I wasn't.
I guarantee I was not.
But Winnipeg Dave was, and he likes what he saw from Kaapo Kähkönen. So, hey.
Hey, listen, when Kähkönen has played for good teams, again, he's never been a starter, but when he's played for good teams, he's shown up decently. The Minnesota teams that he was on in the late 25th or the late 20 teens were good clubs, and he finished, I want to say, like top 12 or top 15 in the Calder that year. When he moved from San Jose to New Jersey last year, and while New Jersey wasn't as dominant as we expect them to be this year because of injuries last season, he started 7 games and posted a 2.5 goals against average and a save percentage in the 920s. Like, you get those numbers to Colorado, you win Stanley Cup championships. If those numbers come here, you win. That's what happened. So can he do that? Yes, but is he a long-term starter? His career to this point would tell you no. What Dave does have a point in is if you start him and he shows, and it's not a high bar to jump over, and he shows competency, maybe that's what they're looking for out of Kähkönen, is to like inject some competition into the room. Because as of right now, it's Georgie and Ananen and nobody else. And it's very clear that neither one of those two guys are losing their job to someone else within the organization. Because Nabokov is not coming over. There's almost zero chance that you could get Nabokov over right now. You would have to pay out his contract plus a whole bunch more to the KHL. You'd have to go through a bunch of different legal loopholes with those contract situations and do something that's largely unprecedented. Ilya Nabokov's not coming over until 2025 at the very earliest.
Well, it would also be unprecedented that a 21-year-old kid who has shown well, but still a 21-year-old would be your savior. I mean, that's unlikely, but the kid is talented. It's not going to happen. Usually when you pick up a goaltender off of waivers, it's really nothing at all. It's usually someone who's not going to help you. Kähkönen is a little bit of an exception to that. He's one of the better goaltenders you could find off of waivers.
Yes.
Like, of that level. I'm using Ivan Prosvetov as an example, like kind of that emergency third. Oh, crap. Hell, this was kind of Jonas Johansson for the Avs, who is somehow now actually backing up Andrei Vasilevsky with the Lightning. But regardless, Kähkönen is, I think his level is a little above that. Like, there's actually some potential there. Is he outright, should you be overly optimistic that he's going to turn into an all-star? No, but they don't even need that. They need just average competent goaltending. They're not even getting average goaltending.
I am overly optimistic that he can outperform what we have seen thus far from Ananen and Georgiev. I am overly optimistic that can happen.
Because what we've seen so far is below NHL replacement level, and Kähkönen is replacement level. And what we've seen is below that.
Yeah. Come on out to Ryan House. Join us again just off of Market Street. They're open late. Kitchen's open late. Have a beer, have a brat. Come hang out with us and our friends at Circus Sportsbook. It's Between the Pipes. We are presented all season long by Safeway. Protect yourself and others with flu and COVID immunizations from your local Safeway pharmacy. Enjoy 10% off with any immunization, and new customers can save up to $75 with any transferred prescription. Schedule online or visit today at Safeway.com. We'll take a quick time out. We are going to come back and continue this goaltending conversation. Alex Ryan, Mark Springer. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 on the other side. I'm on the trade for John Gibson. He plays for the Anaheim Ducks right now.
I can't wait for this.
I would be calling Pat Verbeek constantly. But my question to you, Avs fans, and you can answer on twitch.tv/AltitudeSR, or you can text us at 303-504-0925. Don't shoot the messenger here, but here's the question. Let's play a game. Avs fans, are you fed up enough with the goaltending situation right now that you would trade for Jordan Binnington? We'll discuss it next.
Have you ever wondered what a donut dream tastes like? Well, wake up and smell the donuts. At Desert Donuts, we cook every donut fresh to order. Sweet, savory, or gluten-free, every bite is cooked fresh for you. With some fresh gourmet coffee, Desert Donuts is a donut dream come true. We're not just another donut shop. We're your new all-day obsession, Desert Donuts, where outrageous is contagious. I-25 in Arapahoe and coming soon in Highlands Ranch Town Center.
Vic Lombardi here for Joe Willie's on Broadway. If you're in that area just south of I-25, best food in the business. They open at 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. Why? Well, if you're a sports fan, you know why. That's when you get college football going. Upstairs is available for private parties. Every Friday, they got the PhD show. D-Mac, Tyler, and Scotty broadcasting live. Head out to Joe Willie's on Broadway. Great food, great sports, great time.
In the window business, transparency is everything. Window Nation gets it. Just ask David, one of our customers.
Did not look at other companies because when the salesperson came out and talked to us from Window Nation, my wife and I had a set price, and he came in and said, I can do it for this. And it was below that set price. And we said, okay, let's talk about when we can get this scheduled.
Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. And like David, you could be on your way to saving up to 40% on your energy bills. That's 866-90-NATION.
Window Nation, I mean, they just kept me and my wife informed every step of the way.
Window Nation's 96% satisfaction rating, the highest in the industry, is the result of fast and local service you can count on. With windows built to last a lifetime. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free with 0 down and no interest or payments for 24 months. Schedule an estimate now. 866-90-NATION.
Give them a shot. Let them show you what they can do. You won't be disappointed.
Call 866-90-NATION.
Circus Sports Colorado is sports betting the way it should be. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circus Sports, where we have clear and transparent limits for everyone. All winners are welcome. Find a full menu of bets for every sport, from pro football to hockey, money lines, spreads, futures, and props. Circus Sports has it all. Fun and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Colorado. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
I got a nightmare phone call that no parent wants to receive.
Someone hit me going 60 miles an hour.
Dr. Ramos came highly recommended. When I showed him the x-rays, he immediately knew exactly what was wrong.
We've had a tremendous experience with Ramos Law. Really, I could not be happier.
Having the car accident was an accident. Finding Ramos Law was no accident.
Injured in a car accident? Ramos Law can help. RamosLaw.com.
Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Don't be so soft.
Her face lights up whenever you're around.
That's why the diamond you give her can't be like any other.
At Williams Jewelers, exceptional brilliance is in our DNA. I'm Bruce Williams.
And I'm Steve Williams. We grew up in the diamond business.
And as direct diamond importers, we personally hand select every diamond.
Going through hundreds at a time, looking for what really matters. Life.
Like people, no 2 diamonds are the same.
Some just sit there. And then there are those rare gems that explode with fire and brilliance.
A diamond that shines like no other.
And surprisingly, it's rarely about price. No one sells a more beautiful diamond for less. That's the Williams Diamond Guarantee.
So if you found the woman who loves like no other,
give her the diamond that shines like no other from Williams Jewelers.
Where Colorado shines.
Williams Jewelers, we can make diamonds a part of your life.
Williams Jewelers in Cherry Creek North and in Inglewood, where Colorado shines.
Hey guys, Scott Aces here for Pins and Aces. If you're looking to upgrade your golf game, head over to the store at 5280 Ward Road in Arvada. Whether you need stylish new golf polos, unique head covers, or even a beer sleeve to keep your drinks cold on the course, Pins and Aces has it all. Mention my name when you check out and you'll get 25% off your entire purchase. Trust me, this is the gear that will set you apart on the green. Go by and see him. Tell him Scott sent you. 5280 Wardrobe. It's Pins and Aces.
Colorado Avalanche Hockey, your Between the Pipes. With Raj and Spring. Tonight, live from Rhinehouse at 14th and Market. Brought to you by Circus Sports Colorado on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Bennington, but I mean, I was kind of a little tied up, so have to ask him.
Bennington hurt you.
Yeah, I was doing the interview, so I wasn't quite sure, but yeah, I think it was him. I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Those are the words of Nazem Kadri in the middle of the second round of the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. And I asked the question. I said, let's play a game, Avs faithful. The goaltending has been so bad over the first two games. Honestly, unwinnable goaltending over the first two games of the season. And my question was to you, Avs fans, and you can chime in on twitch.tv/AltitudeSR or at 303-504-0925 on the Shop Mazda text line. Are you so upset with the goaltending? We know when a move needs to be made. I've said John Gibson could be the guy in Anaheim, right? Hasn't played well over the past few years, but Anaheim's a really bad hockey club spring. Maybe a change of pace for a 31-year-old netminder who used to be one of the top 3 to 5 goalies in the league could be good for him. If he's not available, would you look to another non-playoff bound team like the St. Louis Blues and $6 million goaltender Jordan Binnington? Would you, Avs fans, trade for Jordan Binnington?
Well, it's a similar contract to Gibson's. Binnington, a $6 million cap hit, which, remember, a few years ago, we'd look at this long-term contract that they gave to Binnington just around the time that he burst onto the scene as he was like an average minor league goaltender, and then out of nowhere, boom, he's leading the Blues to a Stanley Cup championship, and he gets a big deal. And then he would struggle in the regular season a little bit. He would be good in the playoffs. Playoff Binnington has been a thing. The Avs do know this. Avs fans, you know this. But the $6 million per, when you look at inflation with goaltenders, and the fact that, like with John Gibson, Binnington is a candidate because, they got Joel Hofer, I think it is, who's like an okay younger goaltender or goaltender that they might turn to. The Blues could maybe eat a little of that salary, could retain some of that salary just to move most of that money off the books as they begin to transition into a new era. I mean, that core, that Blues championship core, Petrangelo's with the Knights, O'Reilly is with the Predators now. That era is over. You move on from Binnington, and you really are transitioning. Look, I watched a little Jordan Binnington last night against the Vegas Golden Knights. He allowed 3 or 4 goals. But I tell you what, it won 8. And it was in Vegas, the same place we saw the Avs allow 8 goals. So it won 8. And he made some saves. He's still and play. You rejuvenate him. You put him on a team that has win now aspirations, especially when they get healthy. It checks a ton of boxes except for the fact that Avs fans hate him.
Listen, I understand, and this was a jigsaw type of play for me today. I can't tell you how much fun I've had with this one tweet. I've had like 75 responses to it, and some people understand that's like kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it's essentially like asking Avs fans back in the late 90s, had Patrick Waugh not been here, or had Patrick Waugh, been injured for the span of 1 or 2 seasons, it'd be like asking, well, Avs fans, you have Joe Sakic, Adam Foote, Peter Forsberg, but you don't have a goalie. Why don't we go trade for Chris Osgood or Mike Vernon? It is exactly the same as asking that type of question. I get it. I have always said I think Jordan Binnington is Cam Ward with a bad attitude. And Cam Ward is a replacement-level goaltender outside of his rookie year when he won the Cup and the Conn Smythe with the Carolina Hurricanes back in 2005-2006. Did he go on to have a long year? Yes, he played 13 years in the show, but it was kind of meh. He had a .909 career save percentage, a .270 goals against average, and never really bounced back to get the Hurricanes into true contending situations. But Binnington, as of right now, has an edible contract that St. Louis, you would have to, and it's tough because it's a divisional opponent, St. Louis would have to eat a little bit of money so that you could fit him here on this team. It would be, as of right now, an upgrade in between the pipes for the Avalanche. If you gave me the 2 options of Binnington and Gibson, I think I would take Gibson over Binnington.
See, I would take Binnington.
See, but I feel
even though, look, I've seen John Gibson have some good stretches with the Anaheim Ducks, but, man, they've been fewer and further between of late, whereas Jordan Binnington, while he has also had some down stretches, they haven't quite been as severe or as extended as Gibson's. Binnington's won a cup. Overall, I think he is a better goaltender. Again, it just comes down to the awkwardness of that. Now, you would have to get, because he's under control for this season and 2 seasons after. You got to pay Mikko $6 million, actually, even though that might be cheaper nowadays than it was a few years ago. It's still too expensive for the Avs. You would have to get that eaten down each year, this year and the remaining 2 years after. You'd have to take at least $1.5 million off that. At least. You'd have to get that down to at least $4.5 million per. I think that was the Kemper number. I think when they acquired Kemper from Arizona ate enough money to get Kemper down to 4.5. You would have to get Binnington down to at least 4.5.
Listen, This exercise is not me saying that, like, I want the Avs to go out and do this. I wanted to put this out to Avs faithful to gauge what the level of frustration is with the goaltending. And honestly, it's the most hated player for Avs fans in the game today. Am I wrong? Is there another player that Avs fans hate more right now than Jordan Binnington?
No. I'd say he's number one.
The answer is no, right? Maybe it's Tyler Bertuzzi because he's got his dad's last name.
Sure.
But as a player, it ain't Tyler, right? So my experiment here is to try and figure out just how frustrated Avs fans are. And it was kind of...
I do it?
It was
This
kind
sport,
of 50-50. The response was like, I can't believe you're doing this. You're making me throw up in my mouth. I want to punch you in the face, Raj. Shut the hell up. But kinda.
You want to know what it is, Raj? That's show business, baby. It's business. This is sports. This is business. You do what's best for business. If it makes sense financially and what the package would be, and if you create a plan, you're talking about John Gibson. It's similar years remaining on the contract. It's an option. And yeah, I do like the litmus test aspect of it in terms of how fed up. I mean, are you willing to have this guy on your team? Sometimes you put personal vendettas aside when you need it so bad. And what you need so bad right now is competent goaltending.
And talk about edible contracts. John Gibson's contract right now with Anaheim is incredibly fittable. If you can get Anaheim to retain 50% of that contract, he's under contract through this year, next year, and the following season at $6.4 million. If you get 50% taken off of that, he's in the room at $3.2 million, which not only gets you to where you want to be, it opens up cap space for the Avalanche that they desperately need. Now, John Gibson is a player that his best seasons as of right now are behind him. He's 30 years old. His best seasons when he was an elite goaltender, when he was finishing top 10 in Vezina votings and in all rookie teams and all-star teams, he was posting .925 save percentages, 2.43 goals against averages. He hasn't been that same guy since the 2019-2020 season. Ever since then, he's looked at numbers that are more around the 900 save percentage, a 3.2 goals against average, and last year with an absolutely atrocious Anaheim Ducks team, they dipped even farther into the 889s and the 3.54 goals against averages. My argument for him is, well, a change of scenery could bump those things back up. Are we to say that John Gibson's career is done at 30? I still think he's got some tread on the tires, and I would be incessantly calling Pat Verbeek at this point.
Well, the Anaheim Ducks had their season opener tonight. They did not start John Gibson in goal. They started Lucas Dostal in goal, who came on a little bit last season and is 24 years old, and he's their guy. That's telling that they're not starting Gibson on their first game of the season, that they're going with their younger guy who I don't think he's an amazing prospect, but they trust him right now more than they trust John Gibson. Maybe they would eat half that salary, get it 6 to 3 just because they'd be happy to even get 3 off the books with him, perhaps. Because I would only do Gibson on a bargain deal like that. Again, he did not start tonight, but in theory, if it maybe the change of scenery, if he could get back what he was, that could be something. I'm looking around the league. I'm looking at teams' goaltending depth charts.
You could kick the tires with Buffalo on Devin Levi or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, although I think they look at Luukkonen as like their true forever starter.
I feel like I think they like Levi too. That feels like two guys like that they're going to want to tandem until they're both young. Logan Thompson with the Capitals caught my eye. He's under $1 million. He just came over to the Capitals from the Knights. If he was right, you could Logan Thompson with the Capitals is someone I'd look at. Mackenzie Blackwood with the Sharks.
You and I have talked about Mackenzie Blackwood for a long time, and I think that as of right now, Blackwood is probably he might be the most realistic option because of what Mike Grier did in the offseason in trading with Nashville and Barry Trotz for what is largely viewed as the number one goaltending prospect in the world right now in Yaroslav Askarov. When UC Saros signed his extension, Askarov demanded a trade because he wanted to be in the National Hockey League. And Askarov is the goaltender of the future in San Jose, which would say for a team that is going to be very bad this year in San Jose, and Macklin Celebrini, if I'm correct, did he get injured game one?
Yes, he did. He's on IR.
And he's placed on IR. That's not going to help them whatsoever. Blackwood could be available early on. And yes, early on in the season, most teams are holding off on hey, let's hold off on trading players because we don't know where the season's going to be. San Jose is an exception to that rule. They know they're not competing this year. So if they trade their goaltender in week 1 or week 2, no one cares at that point because it's about the future with that team.
Yeah, no, that's a name that could make sense. And it's, are these the conversations I want to be having on Game 2? No, this isn't what I want to be talking about. But both their guys, Georgiev and Onninen for the Avalanche, both of them are struggling right now. That's quite the pickle to be in. They don't have a reliable option. They don't have one option that you feel any sort of comfort in at this moment.
Whatsoever. We're down here at Ryan House, courtesy of our friends at Circus Sports Colorado. They've got mile-high betting limits, the lowest holds, exceptional customer service. They had a bunch of special Avs lines that we had tonight, a lot of goal-scoring props. We ended up taking Cale Makar Nathan McKinnon -125 anytime goal. The Avs obviously don't come out on top. They've started off the season 0-2. You guys can download your new bookie today at circasports.com. We'll take a quick timeout, come back on the other side, keep breaking this thing down. We'll get away from the goaltending a little bit. We'll see what we saw or talk about what we saw from Nathan McKinnon. Also, maybe the coolest moment that I think I've ever seen from a pregame. We're the 2 MVP city. I did not expect Nikola Jokic to walk out onto the ice today. We'll discuss that and more next. It's Altitude Sports Radio.
You know the deal. Winter is coming, so make sure your family will be warm and cozy this year. Moshier, my partners at Rock Plumbing, Heating, and Air know that budgets get tight, but they can save you money. The initial investment to upgrade your heating system will pay back even more with savings on monthly energy expenses, and your home would be way more comfortable. Take advantage of their flexible financing offers. Schedule a complimentary in-home estimate today at rockheating.com. That's ROCK heating.com. Rock, bringing comfort home and simplifying your life.
At Berg Simpson, we are passionate about what we do. We bring that passion and our expertise to the office and courtroom every single day. We're always working hard and are committed to doing everything we can to give our clients the best opportunity to have a great result.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are.
Hey, Vic Lombardi here. If you have procrastinated, we all procrastinate over things, but you don't want to do it when it comes to a big tax bill. You may have received those letters in the mail, those notices from the IRS, especially that LT11, which is a notice intent to levy. I want you to write this phone number down. It's going to be very important. 303-753-6040. Advanced Tax Solutions. Joined now by the man who runs Advanced Tax Solutions. He's done it for 35 years. Todd Whalen. Why is it so important to go with a local company like yours, Todd?
You know, a face-to-face meeting goes a long way versus just a phone call. But mostly, The person you meet isn't a salesperson. It's actually the person who will be running your case. So you're talking with a licensed professional, not a salesperson. That's the biggest difference.
This is a local company that can get you all fixed up if you're in trouble with the IRS. Again, Advanced Tax Solutions, 303-753-6040.
Hey, it's D-Mac for Mike Maroney Chevrolet GMC. Hey, are you ready to rock those mountains? You know who's got your back? That's Mike Maroney, Chevy GMC in Longmont, and Mike Maroney GMC in Boulder. So slap on those bike racks today, ski racks tomorrow. Put them on a brand new Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra from Mike Maroney Chevy GMC. It's 2 dealerships, 1 big truck month. And get this, Maroney means more. Get more with their 3-day money-back guarantee and free delivery anywhere in our gorgeous state. That's right, from Denver to Durango, they'll bring the truck or vehicle with your purchase right to you. Get truck month savings now at Mike Maroney Chevy GMCs in Longmont and Mike Maroney GMC in Boulder. Reserve your truck now at Mike Maroney Chevrolet GMC.com. Together, let's drive. GMC, we are professional grade. Tell them your pal D-Max sent you.
Sports talk for sports fans. Eat my words.
For 25 years, Ball Arena has been one of America's finest sports and entertainment venues, hosting thousands of events, from world-class concerts and shows to the most unforgettable moments in sports, such as the NBA and Stanley Cup Finals. As home to 3 championship teams, the Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, and Colorado Mammoth, Ball Arena will continue to bring the very best to the region. Ball Arena, 25 years of memories. Visit ballarena.com to plan your next visit today.
NFL is back. There is truly nothing like betting football on Sport Trade. Minus 106 main lines, instant in-play betting, fair cash outs, and a huge menu of props. Most books offer minus 115 lines on in-play markets. Sport Trade cuts that vig in half. Download Sport Trade on your phone today and use code NATE to earn 10% cash back on every bet you place in your first week. Terms apply. Sport Trade is regulated by the Colorado Division of Gaming. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
KKSC Parker, KKSC FM HD1 Broomfield, KKSC FM HD2 Broomfield, K269AE Boulder. We are Altitude Sports Radio.
Colorado Avalanche Hockey, you're Between the Pipes with Raj and Spring. Tonight, live from Rhinehouse at 14th and Market. Brought to you by Circus Sports Colorado on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Thank you, though. You know that I told that I don't want to stay on parade, but I want to stay on parade.
Nikola Jokic, obviously after the Nuggets championship, walked out today, man. On a day in which, obviously, all the festivities were happening for home opener. You were going to announce the entire team. But Nathan MacKinnon with the Lindsay Award and the Hart Trophy for MVP, both voted on by the writers and the NHLPA. For Nikola Jokic to walk out and throw the Hart Trophy on the table and take a photo with Nathan MacKinnon wearing a Nathan MacKinnon jersey was one of the most memorable things that I think I have ever seen at any sporting event.
Well, it was a nice little treat, nice little surprise. Now, Jokic will go to an Avs game from time to time. I would like to imagine that the powers that be at KSE have Nikola Jokic's phone number, and they could just shoot him a text, call him up, say, "Hey, big fella, you want to come down to the arena tonight?" There's no bigger. Look, Nathan MacKinnon's a big star, but Nikola Jokic is global. I mean, he's the biggest star in the city. It is what it is. Nobody's going to get a bigger pop than a surprise Nikola Jokic appearance. Love it. Love it. Great little treat.
Should Nate walk out Nikola's third MVP trophy on opening night for the Nuggets?
I would be down with that. Yeah, that would work. I don't think it would hit as well the other way, but yeah, it would work.
The question is, does Nate walk out? Because he's going to wear a Nikola Jokic jersey, right? Because Nikola wore Nate's jersey. Nate now has to wear Nikola's jersey. The question is, does Nate go tarps off and then jersey on? Or is he wearing like a sweatshirt underneath the jersey or a T-shirt? Because I feel like he can't do the T-shirt.
Yeah, but
I feel like tarps off would be a baller move.
And Nate's got some guns. You show those things off.
I'm telling you. I think that would be – you know what would be even better if he showed up in a Serbia jersey, a Jokic Serbia jersey.
Now that's – so you saw – you just got eyes. We had eyes on here. We're at a Rhinehouse, 14th and Market. A fan has a UMass Cale Makar jersey on. In fact, here she is walking.
It's such a good jersey.
Here.
Such a good jersey.
We are talking about your jersey on air, man.
It's the best one that I've seen yet. All right, Spring, we've talked a whole bunch about the goalies, and I have annoyed you guys enough about the Jordan Binnington thing. But, hey, that's what I'm here to do. Nathan MacKinnon has showed up. Nathan MacKinnon has showed up heavily already. He is dragging this team as close to points as they could have possibly been, giving the goaltending situation. But there's one thing that has been missing. Sure, there's been a couple of defensive zone breakdowns, a bad back check from MacKinnon, a defensive zone breakdown with Drew Wen. But I think that the general play from the Avs has been good enough to win outside of this one spot. And what is that, Spring?
Well, one thing that I noticed tonight through 2 games, and look, the Avs scored 4 goals in their first 2 games. That's pretty good. Averaging 4 goals a game is a good clip. Unfortunately, right now, it might not be enough. You might need more goals and I hate saying that out loud because that shouldn't be the case, but let's allow for the possibility that they're just going to need to solve this issue by scoring more than 4 goals a night. Well, one thing that has stood out to me is, with the bodies that are out, the 3 who I'm not even going to name, you all know who they are, and now Jonathan Drouin makes it 4. This is a team, even when they're 100% healthy, that has some of the better offensive punch from their defensemen in the league. And seeing Zach Werenski, the Jackets' best defenseman, score the opening goal tonight reminded me at this game's conclusion, oh yeah, an Avs defenseman hasn't scored this year. I'm surprised by that. Now, hey, look, it's not really an issue when you're getting a Mikko hat trick and Middlestad's got a couple goals and Ross Colton's scoring. But this is a team that needs goals from their defensemen. Cale came close tonight. Nathan MacKinnon threw this swinging around his backhand side, cross-ice pass in the offensive zone to a cutting Cale Makar. Is a great save by Tarasov. It really was with the glove. Cale came close. They haven't. Devon Taves. I need tasers from Taser from the point. Sam Girard was torn knotted a little bit tonight, but not enough offensive push from the defensemen in terms of throwing pucks towards net. Now the Jackets in the third period though tonight, they did that Dean Evison thing. I didn't even realize he was their head coach until I was watching this game early tonight. You brought it up in the third period. He comes over from the Minnesota Wild, one of those teams that would they have a lead in the third period. They are closing lanes. The Jackets, they just put 4 dudes in front of the crease and said, squeak a puck through. And those shots from the point were getting blocked by defensemen. So I get it. But we got to get goals from Avs defensemen, and I feel like it's going to come.
Yeah, especially, again, if you're going to drag yourself out of this hole, it has to start with your studs. And it can't just be Nate, and it can't just be Mikko. Cale does have to, unfortunately, produce on the offensive side, which is, if he's pressing on that side, you are going to give up a little bit more on the defensive part of the game. And right now, it might be through these first 2 games that it's so obvious so early that you have to repress chances or suppress chances against, because goals are coming in from all different angles. You can't afford to give up grade A scoring opportunities, that Cale isn't jumping into the play as much as he normally would. The power play, while it has clicked, has not been clicking through Kale in terms of like shooting.
I'm surprised by that.
I expect him to jump back and start producing at a very high clip, but the road doesn't get any easier. We talked about how, yes, this team, you're going to learn a lot about who the Avalanche are without their big studs over the course of the first month and a half of the season. Now, are we going to learn about who the Avs truly are this season? No, I don't think we will, because you're missing $20 million out of the top 6 forwards on this lineup. Whatever you do right now, the points may be moot by the time everyone returns. But the one thing you need to do against teams like Columbus, when you're missing this much firepower, you have to find a way to get 2 points, because it doesn't get easier on Monday against a playoff team in the New York Islanders. It certainly does not get any easier on Wednesday evening when you welcome Jeremy Swayman off of a fresh new contract and the plucky Boston Bruins into Ball Arena. I don't think Boston is a true contender in the Eastern Conference this year, but they are a bona fide playoff team that is really tough to play against. Neither one of those 2 games are going to be easy whatsoever. So you do need to make up from the fact that you bungled away 2 points this evening against a bottom feeder team. Now you have to go beat a couple of teams that, honestly, if I was making the odds books, I wouldn't have the Avs favored on Monday or Wednesday. No shot.
Certainly against Boston when they come in on Wednesday, I believe it is. New York's 0-2. The Avs are 0-2. Someone's getting their first 2 points on Monday night.
Speaking about goalies and one who's coming to town on Monday night.
Well, the old goalie's coming to town.
I was going to say, Ilya Sorokin is probably going to start for the Islanders on Monday because he's their number 1. Semyon Varlamov is still kicking, man. He's still viable. You'd be like, hey, Patty, do us a solid. You screwed us a few years ago, but come on, we need a guy.
This Avs season is going to be, and I knew it was going to be this way from the start, but it turns out it's going to be even more difficult and more of a slog than even I anticipated because of the goaltending. It's going to be an uphill climb. It's going to be a season where it might even be a little below 500 hockey for the first month or 2-ish.
You just have to stay afloat, right?
Yeah. And then they're going to have to bank that January, February, March when they're healthy. If they need to maintain health as well between now and getting the injured and absent players back. It can't be get guys back then lose guys.
Right.
They need to maintain what they have, fight, and then whenever you hope everyone's back in January, February, March, and you whip off some 5+ game winning streaks, multiple of them.
Is this a team that you think could start like Edmonton last year and finish like Edmonton did last year? Because Edmonton, guys, last year, like we all remember Edmonton getting to Game 7 of the Cup final. We all remember that. Edmonton was damn near last place like 12 games into the season, and it was panic mode up in oil country, and then they turned into a juggernaut after the first 12 games. Can Colorado do something like that?
We were joking about that with Edmonton today because they're 0-2. They lost at home to the fighting Connor Bedards and the Chicago Blackhawks 5-2. Edmonton, they lost their opener against Winnipeg 6-0. So let's see. The Avs have lost their first game by a combined score of 14-8. The Oilers have lost their first 2 games by a combined score of 11-2.
Ooh.
So, and that team made, like you said, a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And also last season, they got to like a 2-10 start or whatever it was, to the point where they went to San Jose against the lowly Sharks, who were the worst team, and they are still the worst team, but they were even worse last year, for what was dubbed the Oil Shark Bowl. And the Sharks won the Oil Shark Bowl. And the Oilers, because they were able to stay healthy and their studs studded as the season went on, they made the Stanley Cup Final and went to a Game 7. They weren't as banged up like the Avs are right now, but if the Avs can, get that true health in 2025, that portion of the schedule, they are the type of team that can whip off a run that is like, oh, damn, now all of a sudden they're in a decent spot.
Here are the exact numbers for Edmonton last year. They went 3-9-1 prior to that suck bowl between Edmonton and the Sharks. They fired Jay Woodcroft. They hired Chris Knobloch. After that move, they rattled off this record, 46-9-4 for the remainder of the regular season. And then they ran through the Western Conference playoffs and damn near unseeded Florida for a championship. However, the Cats look really good this year. They were awful to start the season, and then they turned it on. I think at that time, because Knobloch came in on November the 12th. November 12 is like right before Val Nichushkin comes back. And it's probably right around or just after when Arturi Lehkonen is going to rejoin the team. I would hope that the Avs aren't 3-9-1 at that point. I would think that they're probably going to be a little bit closer to 500. But if that happens and you get those additions, could 43-9-5 somehow be in the offing?
It's absolutely possible. And, you know, Edmonton, their struggles, they weren't missing near the number of guys and the number of high-impact guys that Colorado is right now. Dude, is there another team in the league that has dealt with injuries like the Avs have dealt with? Am I too close to the situation that I'm missing somebody? I don't think another team in the league has dealt with what the Avs have dealt with. Between Landeskog taking friendly fire from Makar and the amount of time he's missed, and then everything else that has gone down, no team has had a star player, you know, going to the assistance program and screw up multiple times in it. And then all the injuries. I mean, injuries in the playoffs. I don't think – you can't tell me another team has dealt with what the Avs have dealt with. And I don't think it's even close.
No, I don't think it is. Again, $20 million through the first – not through the first. $20 million of players that are missing from your top 6 forwards. Right? Like, typically when you miss $20 million of players, it's like a top line forward and maybe also your number 1 or number 2 D, and then like a couple of third line players, and all of that money then adds up to $20 million in lost players. They have $20 million on the bench in their top 6. Yeah. And it's not just 2 guys making $10 million. It's 4 impact players. It's a captain. It's one of the best power forwards in the league. It's arguably one of the best two-way forwards and certainly one of the best forechecking and neutral zone back pressure players in the world in Arturi Lehkonen. And it's Jonathan Drouin who has found his footing alongside Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah, like
$20 million out of 4 players in your top 6.
Every team deals with injuries, but it's usually like, oh, this team's without that guy, or oh, this team's without this guy.
It's a lot.
With the Avs, it's they're without him, they're without him, they're without him. No other team deals with this.
And then on top of that, you throw in atrocious goaltending, and that's how you start 0-2.
Yep.
If the Avs had competent goaltending, they would be 2-0 right now. Or at least, I feel like you would have been.
They would have won tonight for sure.
You would have been 1-1, and you might have been able to eke out a point. Again, if you look at expected goals, they were expected to win the hockey game in Vegas, despite the goaltending that was put on the ice in Game 1. I had some questions before we get out of here, Spring. Like, what would it cost to go out to get a guy like John Gibson, or again, I know it's a taboo name. I was kind of playing with you guys, but Jordan Binnington. Linus Ullmark went for a goaltender swap this year and a first-round pick. But I think Linus Ullmark is a far cry from
certainly Gibson where he's at now.
And I think he's a very far cry from Jordan Binnington, too.
He's more expensive than Binnington, I'd agree.
He's more expensive, and he's also way better. Like, in terms of the best goaltenders.
Well, he won a Vezina a couple years ago.
Yeah, in terms of goaltenders who have started 40 or more games dating back to the beginning of 2023, the calendar year of 2023, Linus Ullmark has the best save percentage in the league. And Jordan Binnington is the 12th worst.
Sure.
And John Gibson has the worst. So I don't think it would take a goaltender swap and a first. I think it would take would take a goaltender swap and a couple of mid-round picks with some conditions added to them, or it would take a roster player. Again, I don't want to trade this player, but you know, a Ross Colton or a Sam Girard.
I don't even know if it would take that.
It might take less, right? Like, that's the thing. It might take less. But if you're trying to move money to make money work for the goaltender, and you want some sort of salary retention from that team, you might have to sweeten the pot a little bit. So I would say if you're just giving up picks, I think it would be a second with a condition on it. If you're giving away a player, it would be a player for that goaltender and maybe a mid-round pick to sweeten it for salary retention. That's my guess without doing a deep dive into the recent goaltender trades.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that pricey overall. I don't think you'd give up anybody that you thought, because I think Anaheim and St. Louis, they first of all, they'd be down to save $3+ million.
Right.
First
Anaheim way more than St. Louis. And again, Gibson's hurt. Thanks, Evan Rowell from the Gazette for pointing that out. Gibson is starting the season hurt, so that's the reason why Lucas Dostal is starting. But they do like Dostal to be their starter of the future. It would make their room cheaper. It would make it easier to bring in veteran players to play alongside the guys like Leo Carlsson and Troy Terry as they're building that youth movement out there in Anaheim. I think he's a certain possibility, and I hope that Chris McFarland and Joe Sakic are calling Pat Verbeek.
Ooh, there's people writing articles about the Red Wings wanting John Gibson.
I don't think the Red Wings are making the playoffs. I think
tonight.
I think the Yzer plan is destined to fail, even though they've got some really talented players there. I just think the East is too deep. I really do. All right, Spring, before we get out of here, again, live at Rhine House off of 14th of Market, thanks to our friends at Circus Sports Colorado. Mile-high betting limits, the lowest holds, and exceptional customer service. Let's take a look at the only game tomorrow night for Bet the Pipes, as we have the Anaheim Ducks on the road at the Vegas Golden Knights. This is a heavy favorite for Vegas at minus 280. The over-under set at 6.5. The Ducks, heavy road favorites on the money line at plus 230 tomorrow. Spring, I went 0 for 2 on my first bets, and I didn't come close.
My Devils lost.
Your Devils lost, and my Cats lost. I had a really tough go
We're
there.
We're off to a rocking start.
Give me the over in tomorrow night's game, over 6.5. I'll take that for even money. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take the over 6.5 in that game, too. I mean, Vegas has played 2 high-scoring games to start this year. Tonight, Anaheim played a low-scoring game, a 2-0 win in San Jose. But second night of a back-to-back, tired legs. I think goals go in that game tomorrow night. Considering, I mean, Vegas plays a 12-goal game and a 7-goal game to start their season. So, I'll tell you.
Whole bunch of games tonight. We'll quickly go through the NHL scoreboard before we send you guys off to bed on this Saturday evening. Colorado is knocking on the doorstep right now at Folsom. They're down by 10, 7 minutes to go in a 24-14 game matched up against the 18th ranked KSU Wildcats. Shadur Sanders on first and goal throws one into the ground. But again, the Buffs on the 4-yard line trying to make this thing a one-score game with under 7 minutes to go. That game can be watched on ESPN. Tonight, the Ducks shut out the Sharks 2-0. The Blackhawks, as Spring mentioned, beat the Oilers 5-2 this evening. Connor Bedard did score a goal tonight.
Corey Perry scored a goal.
Corey Perry still kicking it in the league. Can't believe the Worm is still here.
Wait, Corey Perry on the Oilers.
Yes.
This game in Edmonton. So do you think Connor Bedard's mom made the trip?
Oh, hey, it was right there for you, and you hit it. I'm very proud of you. The Flames double up the Flyers to improve to 2-0 on the season. 6-3 is the final there. The Flyers are my surprise team in the East to be like the 7 or the 8 seed. I just think Matvei Michkov is going to figure out something in the middle of the season this year and go absolutely nuclear. He's also my pick for Rookie of the Year. The Kraken get the Wild in a shootout 5-4 this evening, and Utah stays undefeated. They go into Madison Square Garden in a wild back-and-forth game. 6-5 is the final. Utah, on Clayton Keller's 3rd goal of the season, improves to 3-0.
They're not an expansion team. They're a team that move, but they got that expansion touch to them so far. They're 3-0. This is the new, you get something new and shiny in the NHL. It was the Vegas Golden Knights first. The Kraken had a good first season. Not quite Knights good, but now the Hockey Club in on the action.
Stars shut out the Islanders at home 3-0. That get 2 goals from Tyler Seguin, 1 goal from Jamie Benn. And the last score of the evening, the Devils 5 and the Capitals 3. I think the Devils are going to be a really tough out in the Eastern Conference this year. They are built top to bottom. I like their goaltending moves as of late. And if Jack Hughes stays healthy, I think you said it night one on Between the Pipes, that's a guy to look at for Hart.
Yeah, and then with Dallas, if Dallas improves to 2-0, they'll play Seattle tomorrow night. I kind of like Dallas to move to 3-0, and Dallas right now feels like they're hit. Like that organization is in a good spot
This
right now.
is their window.
Yeah, so when the Avs do get healthy, Dallas is going to create a little gap here, I fear, between themselves and the Avs to start this season.
Maybe a gap. Maybe a gap's kind of what the Avs need to sit back, right? What we saw them do last year was chase for the division at the end, and maybe they did run out of a little bit of gas. I know the Nichushkin situation is the main reason why they ended up losing in the playoffs, but let's say Dallas does open up this massive lead. Then you can look at the Central Division and go, well, we don't need to run for that. You can look at the 2nd or the 3rd seed in the Central.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say take the foot off the gas, but you certainly don't need to press as heavy as you did last year. Maybe it'd be a good thing for the Avs.
Avs lost. Their season ended on home ice last year. Home ice doesn't matter anymore.
CU punches it in. Just under 6 minutes to go there up at Folsom Field. 24-21 is the score as KSU leads the Buffs, and that is going to do it for us tonight from Rhine House off of Market Street. Thanks to our friends at Circus Sportsbook. That's it. For Dixon, for Cole, for Jordan and KJ back at the studios, and for my partner, the radio machine, Mark Springer. I'm Alex Ryan-Emmy. Thank you guys so much for listening to Between the Pipes, presented by Safeway. Get your flu and COVID immunizations from Safeway and enjoy 10% off groceries. Schedule your appointment today at Safeway.com/pharmacy. We will come to you for the first time in Between the Pipes history in a digital format on Monday night as the Avs take on Patrick Waugh and the New York Islanders. You won't hear us on 92.5, but you will find us on Twitch, on YouTube, and on Twitter. So for Spring, I'm Raj. We'll see you guys Monday.
Get in the game with Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Join Kreckman and Lindahl every Monday from 3 to 6 as they